Welcome to Founders in Flow, the podcast where two seasoned entrepreneurs, Neil and Ijlal, dive into real conversations about what it takes to build, grow, and scale an online business. Let's get into the flow.
Hey everyone, welcome to Founders in Flow. I'm your host Neil Napier, and today we're diving into a topic that, let's be honest, is a bit of a head scratcher for many entrepreneurs: sales funnels. With me is the brilliant Ijlal Ahmed, who seems to crack the code every time. How's it going, Ijlal?
Hey Neil, glad to be here. Always excited to nerd out about sales funnels. It's funny how this thing that's supposed to be so straightforward ends up feeling like advanced calculus, right?
Absolutely. The concept seems simple. Guide a potential customer down a path to a purchase. But somehow, in practice, it's like getting your cat to take a bath. So let's set the stage. In 2025, what do you think is the biggest reason most funnels are failing to convert?
2 words: overload and expectation. You see, everyone's gotten so good at creating these automated wonders that we've saturated the market. Funnels are everywhere. But because of this, potential customers are just tuning out. They expect every ad they'll see is another ploy. It's no longer about being unique, it's about providing genuine value right from the first impression.
That's a great point. It's almost like we're trying to outshout each other in a room full of megaphones. There's so much noise, but I guess the real question is, how do you break through that noise? Do you think personalization plays a big role here?
Huge role. Personalized experiences are literally the key to modern day marketing success. Look, when I am building out a funnel, I focus on tailoring the message to fit not just a broad audience type, but specific personas within that audience. It's not enough to say you're targeting small business owners. You have to think about their specific pain points, their daily challenges, and their aspirations. Data-driven personalization can drastically improve engagement and conversion. It's like speaking directly to someone rather than just speaking at them.
Right, and since we're talking personalization, I'm reminded of this story from a few years back. Maybe you've heard about that one company that sent hyper-personalized emails, each one opening with how the recipient's favorite sports team did that week. It was simple but brilliantly effective. It's like they tapped into this shared social piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I remember. It's fascinating how simple human touches like that elevate the entire experience. Another layer is getting the timing right. You can have a brilliant email that'll catch someone's attention, but if it arrives when they're overwhelmed with work or heading out the door, it just doesn't land. You really want to get a feel for when and how often people like to engage with your content.
Exactly. It's a bit like making sure your elevator pitch doesn't happen just when someone is rushing to another meeting. So on a practical front, what can entrepreneurs do to ensure their funnel timing is optimal? Any hacks or strategies you swear by?
Definitely, Neil. It really boils down to understanding your customer journey. There's no one size fits all, but starting with your analytics and data is key. Find the peak times your audience is most active or responsive. Another tactic is A/B testing different timings and content releases to see what works best. And never underestimate the power of retargeting. Those subtle reminders that you exist can make all the difference, especially if they're thoughtfully timed based on past engagement.
Love those insights, Ijlal. I think there's also an emotional aspect to this. People often neglect the storytelling element in funnels. If we think back to classic storytelling in cinema, the best narratives take their audience on an emotional roller coaster. Can sales funnels do something like that?
They absolutely can and should. Every customer journey has moments of doubt, excitement, and anticipation. Think of your funnel like a mini-series you're directing for them. There's a natural flow of curiosity that builds to satisfaction. Maybe you hook them with a captivating opener, like an unexpected statistic or a compelling question, then guide them through emotional highs or real-world pain points, culminating in the resolution, your solution. Creating that journey is an art as much as it is a science.
Couldn't have said it better. It's funny, but in a way, our role as marketers isn't all that different from film directors, right? We need to keep the engagement curve up. And it's amazing how many tactics from the film industry we can adapt to our world. Speaking of tactics, what's one unconventional tip you've used recently that's kind of outside the norm but struck gold? Quick break from today's episode, but this is really exciting. If you've been enjoying this podcast so far, here's a little secret. We didn't write a single word of it ourselves. Every episode of Founders in Flow is created using a tool we're building called PodGorilla. And it's about to change the way podcasts are made. PodGorilla lets you generate an entire podcast episode, from the topic to the script to the voiceover, using nothing but AI. You can pull inspiration from YouTube videos, PDFs, or even just drop in your own ideas. Then it gives you a complete, ready-to-publish audio episode. All you need to do is hit generate and let the tool do the work. And right now we're opening up early access. If you want to be one of the first people to try PodGorilla before anyone else and see how we're using it behind the scenes, just head over to podgorilla.co and join the waitlist. That's podgorilla.co. The future of podcasting is just one click away. Now back to the episode.
You know, I've been experimenting with gamification, even in subtle forms. A funnel doesn't just have to be all pop-ups and email sequences. I recently ran a campaign where email recipients had to follow a series of clues that unlocked more content or deals the further they engaged. It plays on curiosity and a bit of human psychology. Everyone loves a good mystery, and it induces that dopamine hit when the next level opens up.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love the concept of turning a funnel into an interactive experience. Really underscores the idea there's no limit to how creative we can get in engaging with our audience. It's clear this isn't just about numbers, it's about experiences. Have you noticed any major shifts in consumer behavior that entrepreneurs should be aware of when designing these kinds of interactive funnels?
Yeah, Neil. The biggest shift is definitely the consumer's expectation for authenticity. People crave realness now more than ever, and they can sniff out inauthentic content from a mile away. Thanks to social media, they're used to personal connections. Even with brands, this is a shift from viewing businesses merely as sellers to treating them as part of their community. We talk about this personal branding phenomenon a bit in terms of them knowing who's behind the brand. Personal stories, a peek into the company's daily life, or behind the scenes content, it all feeds into this trust model consumers are building.
Such vital points. Trust really does cut through all that noise. Bringing an element of personal branding into the funnel seems to be another way to transmute those barriers into bridges. Switching gears a bit, what challenges have you faced in implementing some of these strategies?
For sure, challenges are inevitable. One of the biggest, honestly, is balancing automation with authentic personalization. It sounds like an oxymoron. You want your processes automated yet personalized to an individual. Often it's ensuring that automation doesn't drain the human touch. Another challenge is staying ahead of the tech curve. There are so many tools, each claiming to be the next big thing. Sorting through them to find what actually adds value can be time-consuming.
You're speaking my mind. The paradox of personal automation is real. And with technology, it sometimes feels like we're competing in an arms race. That's the double-edged sword of being in a tech-driven industry. Constant evolution keeps things fresh, but also demands us to keep learning continuously. What's on your learning agenda these days when it comes to innovation?
Recently, I have been diving deep into AI and machine learning. Not just in the sense of chatbots and simple automation, but how they can predict customer behavior patterns to optimize funnels. AI can take what I call data breadcrumbs left by users at different interaction points, then guide decision making about what content serves them best at each stage. Plus, I think there's immense potential in using AI to personalize marketing messages on an even deeper level than it does now.
Fascinating stuff. AI is transforming the landscape rapidly, and with advancements like predictive analytics, we're effectively reading our customers' minds, figuratively speaking, of course. Wrapping up, if you could share one piece of advice with our listeners navigating the funnel struggles, what would it be?
Keep testing and iterating. If you remember nothing else, remember that. Your first version of a funnel isn't the final version. Keep learning from the feedback, both data-driven and descriptive comments from users. Marketing success isn't a sprint, it's an ongoing marathon where adaptability is key. And most importantly, don't hesitate to infuse authenticity in your messages. People can tell when you're genuine, and it goes a long way.
Thank you so much, Ijlal. It's always a pleasure to have someone with real-world experience cutting through the fluff. For our listeners out there, remember, your funnel isn't just about numbers, it's about relationships and building communities. And if you need to, get out pen and paper and write down what your customer journey actually looks like today. Until next time, stay in flow. Talk to you soon.